Hello fellow Star citizens, it's Stars here again. As my friends would know, I'm primarily a hauler by profession in this game. So I was about to start one of my runs when I saw in global chat that a new player, Midniight, required a lift from Area 18 to Everest Harbour. So I thought, well, it was along my way, my trade route would have started in Hurston anyway, so why not go pick him up? Because for those of you who have played Star Citizen for a while, know the risk of picking up hitchhikers. The chances of you getting hijacked are quite high, but I was flying empty and Midniight really seemed like a new player. He was complaining that he was unable to call his ship because of some problems with his Mobiglass. In hindsight, when I was looking through my chat again, I realized that the problem with his Mobiglass was not unique to him. Since 3.18, we've been having problems plotting on the star map, and sometimes all you need to do is to jump to another point, maybe an OM, and then try plotting again. Anyway, it's too late for me to tell him that now. So after establishing that Midniight was not going to be a major threat, I landed at Area 18 and proceeded to head to him. Ordinarily, I would have just waited in the hangar, but I had problems trying to find out which hangar I had actually landed in. So I ended up having to leave the ship just to see which hangar it was. And even then, I still couldn't identify the hangar number, so I decided to go to the ASOP terminals to meet him. And there he was, Midniight. Female tune though. So yeah, unfortunately, I had also realized that there was very bad lag and desync, and this time it wasn't just the servers. I think Midniight was playing with some fairly basic hardware and he was struggling to deal with Star Citizen. Anyway, to cut a long story short, I managed to fetch him and bring him over to my C2. And some of our chats were quite hilarious. I mean, visually to me, he wasn't actually in the hangar with me. But he claims he was, and he suddenly shows up on the hangar pad. Oh well, it's not the first time we have encountered lag like this. It did assure me that he was in his noob suit. Well, but so was I. The both of us weren't armed, so well, if we ever got into a fist fight and he tried to take over my C2, wasn't much loose anyway. Anyway, it was just good to do something for the new player community, something that I had been privileged enough to enjoy, especially when Star Citizen was still starting out. People were a lot friendly, a lot more helpful, and there were less people who were keen on piracy, unlike these days. But I do understand that there is an important role for piracy to play in this game, and well, it does keep haulers like myself on my toes. Well, everything was proceeding relatively smoothly. He had a normal takeoff, although there was the usual visual glitch where the ships looked like they were heavily damaged when they are actually not. But it was just visual, and it sometimes doesn't show up for the other player. Anyway, so with off we go, head down to Hurston, and we made some small talk along the way. It turns out that the lag was really bad for Midniight. He described his gameplay experience as a slideshow, 1 or 2 frames per second. And that was when I had actually inquired about his PC setup. Turns out that Midniight was using a Ryzen 3500X with 16GB of RAM and an NVIDIA 1660 Ti. I would strongly recommend all Star Citizen players to have 32GB of RAM because the game in its current unoptimized state is extremely RAM heavy. A lot of the shader files have to load in and out, and the 1660 Ti, frankly, it's a little underpowered for this game. But he had obviously done some research and knew a little bit about the settings he should apply. He was generally on the right track, except that his hardware was really limiting. I had actually done a very old video on some of the hardware settings that you can use for Star Citizen. It's linked above. Feel free to check it out. So anyway, after a very short hop with courtesy of TS2 engines, I landed in Everest Harbour and it was time to drop him off. So I had thanked him for flying Starus baselines, something I just thought of on the fly, only to realize that his screen was so laggy he didn't even know that we've actually docked in Everest. I thought that was quite funny. Anyway, after a couple of seconds, his screen refreshed and he finally realized that we were landed in the hangar. So I must really wonder what his gameplay experience is like. But you know, I gave him a lift and got him to the destination. Not sure if it would solve his fundamental problem of not being able to navigate using his Mobiglass, but I got him to where he wanted to go and it was time to say goodbye. 07 Midnight, may you have smooth journeys in this verse. And so it's back to my ship and to get ready to be off my merry way. So as a precaution, I decided to disband the party so that he's unable to access the ship again. So I just refueled and called for ATC. And for those of you who have observed, remember this is the same hangar I had actually docked in. So I came in from the front of the hangar without any incident. So up goes the landing gear and I head back out the very same way I came in. Guess what happens? Oh well, this is Star Citizen for you. This is PU 3.19 and I hope they fix all these bugs really soon. I have completely no hard feelings for Midniight at all. This has nothing to do with him. I do hope his journeys in the verse are much smoother than mine. Anyway, this is Starus signing out. Have a good day, guys.